and welcome to a very weird edition of the Choose Violence podcast, a podcast for feminine rage. I'm your host, Ishpal, and I'm fucking over it. Because sometimes feminine rage looks like exhaustion. It looks like I'm over it. It looks like I'm recording this podcast horizontal in my bed without my podcasting microphone, and if the audio sucks today, I'm sorry. Sometimes feminine rage looks like I made a commitment to do a thing, and I'm a woman, so I'm going to stick to my commitment and do the thing. But I might show up half dead. But at least I showed up to do the thing. So today's episode's going to be a little weird. The video is a little strange. The audio, probably not as good. But at least it's honest. At least we're showing up, because that's what women do, isn't it? That's what we fucking do. We feel like shit, we feel beaten down, we feel like we want to die, and we show up and we do the fucking thing anyway. And I feel like a lot of times we think that women show up, even though we feel like shit, we put on a mask and we put on some heels and we put on some lipstick, and what's that Marilyn Monroe quote? Maybe it's Audrey Hepburn of like, pour yourself a drink, put on some lipstick, and pull yourself together. Well, guess what? That's not what all women do. Sometimes we just look like shit. Sometimes we just feel like shit. And sometimes we're just pissed off and upset and hurt and sad, and we show up and do it anyway. So if some days you gotta show up to work horizontal, looking like shit with your eyes puffy from crying, at least you're still fucking doing the thing. Because that's how I feel about me right now. Just laying here, cradling my inner child, trying not to cry. But we said we would record a podcast. So here we are recording a podcast, because if I don't do it today, it's going to give me anxiety every single day for the rest of the fucking week. So we're getting it done. And it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be the funniest thing I've ever said in my life, but also who knows, because sometimes when I'm really miserable, I'm hilarious. Let's be honest, no one gets funny without a little trauma. Let's be honest, the worse my life is going, usually the funnier I am. I honestly, a lot of times, when life is going well, I panic because I'm not like, oh no, and the other shoe's gonna drop. I panic because I'm like, oh no, what if I stop being funny? Like, when I get really happy, I'm like, oh no, my stand-up is about to suck. Oh no, I'm about to not have any good TikToks. Like, I was healing from a breakup, and that's how the Revenge Idea series was born. And then I got through a period of time where I reached a lot of emotional tranquility and healed a lot. And boy, did the content drop off there. And now I'm like, damn it, can I get some of that resentment that I prayed away? Can I get it back? Can I have some of that resentment back? Can I get some of that raw, unadulterated rage that was eating me inside? Can I get it back? Because it made for some great content. It made the girly pops laugh. The girlies, they were laughing. And then it looks like God answered my prayers, because he's like, oh, you want to feel like shit? Oh, girl, you want to feel like shit? Oh, girl, we're going to make you feel like shit. And let's see if it makes you a little bit funny. Then I recorded some content about it, and I almost cried. I almost posted my first crying TikTok today, and then I was like, not today, bitch. And I had this weird intuitive feeling of, I was like, if you just cry and are vulnerable and honest and authentic, it'll probably go viral. And then I was like, I don't need views that bad. Nope. This video's going to do like shit, and I don't care. I don't need videos that bad. The video will probably still do fine. But crying on the internet, not worth a million views. Nope. I don't have much self-respect, but I do have that much. I think if I had authentically started crying and I just posted it, would have been one thing. But the fact that my brain, for even a moment, when I pulled back the tears and was like, not today, my brain was like, but what if it goes viral? I was like, that's a disease. That's a disease. That's a disease of the mind, to think I'm going to post myself crying on the internet like a psycho because it'll get views. That's a disease. No offense to anyone who does it. Some offense to some of the people who do it. But we're not going to do it. We're just not even going to do it. We're not going to do that. So I'm exhausted and full of rage. Is it worth getting into why? This will sum it up. My mother, I think, and boundaries, lack of privacy, lack of respect. Something probably every single girl listening to this podcast understands. I'm like, wondering if I should pause this and just check if the audio is even remotely viable before I keep recording. we're in a flow. We're just gonna roll with it. Really, it's just that I started talking about my mom and then I wanted to be avoidant and run away. And I'm like, let's go do something else and hope I change my mind about what I want to talk about. But moms, dude, why do they always gotta mom so fucking hard? And it sucks being mad at my mom in my old age of 32. Because I know she's just a person. And I know I love her. And I know she's the best. And I know she's trying her best. But sometimes she really pisses me the fuck off. And they say, like, I don't know who told me this, but I'm sure it's a common saying of, like, parents are so good at pressing our buttons because they're the ones who installed them. And I'm like, that bitch installed every single one. But she acts like I bought them from the store by choice. And it's just a game she's really good at instead of the fact that she wrote the fucking manual on how to press all the buttons to cause a nuclear explosion. And then at the end of it, I'm just like, hey, this is what the argument boiled down to. Hey, you said something mean and it hurt my feelings. And then I was going to swallow that. Because in therapy, we've worked on me not always piping up when my feelings are hurt. Because usually it doesn't get the reaction that I want, or like it never gets my needs met. Like I know I'm going to get reamed by Kaylin in therapy tomorrow morning for my behavior today. So I'm just like not looking forward to that at all. Oh my God, my head doesn't even look like it's attached to a body. If you're watching the video, the way I'm laying down right now, I'm like in a sweatshirt and it just looks like my head is floating in space. Whoa, that's really crazy. I feel like I'm on drugs. I'm not on drugs, totally sober, but it feels like my head is just like on a plate of blankets. That's crazy. Anyways. Oh man, you can just like see how I get avoidant whenever I start talking about anything real because I don't wanna. But the thought has been started, so now I gotta finish it. Anyways, basically, I was like, hey mom, you said something that hurt my feelings. That sucks. Basically said something shitty about TikTok. Whatever. It's fine. She doesn't get it. I was just gonna swallow it because whenever I say, hey, that hurt my feelings, my needs don't get met and it just causes a fight and there's no point. So rather than trying to change other people's words and actions, I have to change my reactions and just be quiet and self-soothe on my own time. Fine. But then I realized my mom's blocked on TikTok. Not only have I blocked my mom, I've blocked all my mom's friends. I've blocked all my relatives, or at least all of her friends and all the relatives that I know about. Because if you don't know anything about Indian people, they all seem to know each other in the whole world. It's crazy. So I guess there's no way to block all of them. So I kind of thought to myself, Mom, how did you know that shitty thing you said about TikTok? How'd you know that? And she was like, oh, people tell me things. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, people just like send me things. And I'm like, how the fuck? Like I blocked everyone that you know. She was like, well, you can't block everybody. And she had this weird fucking sick smile on her face. I'm like, you stupid bitch. You're violating my privacy and crossing my boundaries and making a joke about it. And then I tried to press her on who it was, saying that I felt like my privacy was violated, saying that it felt creepy to know that like people are watching my shit to like whisper reports back to her, and that doesn't feel very safe and I don't like it, especially because we've had many drawn out fights about privacy and boundaries before, which she never respects. And I was talking to my friend Joe about it today. He's gay, don't worry. He's a boy, not his fault, is gay, so he's a good one. Anyways, we were talking about like there's nothing that feels worse than when someone's crossing your boundaries and there's nothing you can do to stop them. That's a scary thought, isn't it? But if you think about that, it's like the most helpless feeling in the world. And I was like, just started sobbing. I just broke down crying. So I was like, oh, that's exactly how I felt. Like I had set a boundary with her and then she crossed it. And then I tried even harder to set it. And then she just found another way around it, was just kind of like laughing at me. And I was like, hey. And then naturally I was like, hey, this is uncomfy. I don't like it when you do that, Mom. Can you not? And then it became the classic, I'm a terrible mother. Look at all the things I've done. Look at all these horrible, absurd things that no one should do, frankly, that I don't do, and I should get a reward for that. And then it all boiled down to, do you want to keep living here? Because I moved home because my life fell apart, and I was not mentally well, not here by choice. I mean, here by choice, but not much, wasn't doing well mentally on my own. Some stuff happened. Maybe we'll get into that someday if anyone gives a shit. It's kind of a good story, actually. It's not bad. It's really, it'll be a good chapter in the book someday. And I'm like, why does it have to go to that every time? Why does it have to go to, you hurt my feelings, please apologize and take some accountability? And she's like, I'm a terrible mother. You must hate me. I've never done anything right. And I'm like, can you fucking relax and not be so dramatic? Like, you're calling me dramatic for saying my feelings are hurt and you're ready to kick me out of the house because I said my feelings were hurt? For real? Like, are you so fucking for real right now? And then I just went upstairs and I was like, this is, and then I recorded a TikTok where I almost cried on the internet, and that was really embarrassing. So then I naturally swallowed my feelings, and now they're finding weird ways to lash out, and I feel like I'm dying inside. So I'm just laying on my chest to suppress all the feelings within because I want to dissociate, because feeling my feelings feels embarrassing because this all feels so incredibly childlike. And it is my inner child. These are childhood wounds. They say if it's hysterical, it's historical. If you haven't heard that one, it's a good one. If you ever have a crazy hysterical reaction to something, probably means there's some historical trauma around it. Also, I've got my space heater on right now, and it's getting really fucking hot in here, but I'm not getting up to move. It's not happening. It's just not happening. So I feel very childish. I am 30 years old. I should not have my day wrecked because my mommy said something mean to me. But honestly, my inner child's a real thing, and it's hurting right now. But grown-up Ishpaul still wanted to show up to do the podcast, and so in future perfectionist Ishpaul is going to have to deal with the performance of this video and whether or not it does good or not, and then I'll internalize that for a week, and then some other problem will come up and I'll forget all about it. The joy of being alive. The joy of being alive. The joy of being alive, and just know that there will always be more problems coming, so it doesn't really matter what today's problems are, because tomorrow they won't matter because you'll have something worse to deal with. Isn't that great? And then spiritual Ishpaul's like, Ishpaul, you can't be saying all these negative things, so you're going to manifest them into your reality. Law of attraction, you have to be more positive. And then I just want to scream, because then I shame spiral, and I'm like, oh, all of the horrible things in my life, I've attracted into it with my own shitty mindset. And then I just have a nervous breakdown. And that's how I ended up with my hood on the fetal position, but face down. It's a new one that I figured out today. On the fetal position, but somehow face down on the ground. And then my dad was calling me to help with dinner, and I didn't respond because I couldn't breathe because I was having an anxiety attack. And then he came to the door and he asked, are you asleep? And I said, no, I'm just having a bit of an anxiety attack. And he said, okay, please come down for dinner. That's it. That was the full reaction. Oh, you're having an anxiety attack? Yeah, just please come down for dinner. And then he just walked away. So no wonder my inner child's wounded if this is the emotional support I've received my whole life, you know? And I know it's not that bad. I know people have it worse. I know that. I absolutely know that. I am very privileged. I have two parents who are alive, who I talk to. I go on walks every morning with my dad. We've all done a lot of growth to get along, okay? We all put a lot of effort into our relationship. Every day my parents are on my gratitude list, okay? They're alive. They are not addicted to drugs. They are not criminals. My parents have never been to jail. Actually, my dad spent one night in jail. That's a story for another day. Basically, was smuggling in my cousins and his sister from another country illegally because they were in dire straits. He's a good guy. I like my dad. He had some, anger issues when we were younger, but he's a good guy. I love my dad. Great guy. We get along very well. Now, so I recognize that all of the problems I have with my parents are pretty minuscule compared to the majority of the people in this country and this world. I get it. And also, our pains and traumas are the only pains and traumas we know. So I have to also honor what my inner child has been through, which is always crying and being upset and nobody caring. Nobody caring. And you would think as you get older that would affect you less, and it does. But sometimes it'll just sucker punch you, and you're like, oh, I was really hoping this time somebody would give a shit. Oh, I was really hoping this time somebody would check on me and ask if I was okay. Wouldn't that be so nice if just one time someone just checked on you and asked if you were okay? Wouldn't that be so cool? But, nope, we don't get that. Instead, I just get to spend $1,000 on therapy every month to deal with all this on my own. So we love that. But luckily I have the internet and I can talk about stuff here. Anyways, so sorry guys, I'm sorry if this episode's a bit of a bummer, but I also feel like it's weirdly relatable. I also feel like maybe Ishpaul, you're doing a service, because this is kind of an honesty people don't really give on the internet. So maybe this is helpful to somebody. Because I'm not the only one. Oh my god. That's how you know I had energy. I just sat up, but also look how crazy I look. If you guys are listening to this on Spotify or Apple, you should really come check out YouTube because I look insane. I look mentally ill. This is good. This is good. It's a good watch. It really feels like you're FaceTiming with a mentally ill, depressed friend. This is really good. Which we all have those, or we are those. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, maybe this is being of service. What the fuck was I even talking about? I don't fucking know. Oh yeah, this is probably not the funniest or the best podcast you've ever listened to, but you know what? It is authentic. You know what? No one on the internet is going to be as real with you as I'm going to be, because some days we feel like shit. And some days we have to show up to work anyways. And some days we have to pursue our dreams even when we feel like dog shit and there's snot on the sleeve of our sweatshirt that we're accidentally showing to the internet. And who cares? Because the world will go on and continue to spin. And either people listen to this episode or they won't fucking listen to this episode. Either the analytics will be great or they'll be terrible or somewhere in between. And guess what? The world will go on. Last week, I uploaded an unedited file of the podcast up on YouTube, and it took me 3 or 4 days to realize it. And then I reposted it, and I'm sure people were confused. So we're killing it. And who cares? Who cares? Who cares? And also anything could happen, you know? The day before my first video went viral on TikTok, I had given up on TikTok, and I posted 3 videos in a row just talking shit on how terrible the TikTok filters are, which they are. Clearly, we're designed by a man. Like, comparing the Instagram filters to the TikTok filters, it's like, how has TikTok gotten everything right except the filters? They're all dog shit. They're all dog shit. Every single fucking one of them. I have not found one good TikTok filter. So I have to record everything into Instagram and then import it, and it's very cumbersome, and I hate it. Anyways, so I just really given up and just posted the most junky garbage ever. And then the next TikTok has 4 million views now. So who the fuck knows? Anything's possible. Anything's possible. Wouldn't that be crazy if this was the most successful podcast episode of all time? Because they're like, wow, an ugly girl being depressed is so real. It's so authentic. We don't see this stuff no more. I'm just glad to know I'm in good company, because I know anyone who listens to this podcast has had a fucking day like this. If you're going to turn on a podcast called Choose Violence, a feminine rage podcast, you have been full of rage while being cripplingly depressed, face down in your own bed in a snot-covered sweatshirt. You have. You just have. And maybe you forgot about it, because sometimes we repress depressing memories, in which case, good for you. Because those memories suck to remember. But, I've had designated snot towels before. I've had periods of time where I'm so depressed that tissues don't fucking cut it, because it's really depressing to use up a whole tissue box. It's really depressing to be blowing your nose from crying, and then you look around, and then, because obviously you're depressed, so they're not going in a trash can, and you look at the floor, and then it's just littered with evidence of your sadness that you then have to clean up. You have evidence of your sadness and a mess to clean up. Kill me. And so I had for a period designated crying sweatshirts where the sleeves would become the tissues. And then I switched to towels because, the sweatshirts weren't cutting it because I was weeping constantly. That's what happens when you take a depressed girl and move her to Indiana in the wintertime and she's unmedicated. And was I also going through a breakup? No, I think I was just in law school, so I was crying a lot. That's probably what it was. Law school, Indiana, seasonal depression, regular depression. Anyways, so if you're really depressed, a towel is a great option. It's like an endless tissue. And they're really resilient in the wash, so you're not going to damage them at all. And you usually have a ton of towels in your house. And I'm not talking like a washcloth. That's some basic bitch shit. You're going to burn through a washcloth. If you're really sad, if you're genuinely mentally ill, washcloth's fucking worthless. You're going to need a bath towel. If you have a pool towel, that's pretty good too. But you want it to be soft so your nose doesn't get all raw. You know what I mean? Just like a nice, big, fluffy towel. And you can just have it on your couch for just because or wherever your designated crying spot is. I think in all of our houses we have our designated crying spot. In this place, it's my bed. In most places, it's my couch. And so you just leave your designated crying towel on the arm of the couch. And then when you cry, it's just right there, good to go, ready for you. What the fuck was I saying before I went on that long tangent? Oh, my snot sweatshirt. Anyways, you guys get it. You guys get it. You guys get it. We've all been here. And if you're sitting here and you're like, I haven't been there, you're either lying, you were drunk when it happened so you don't remember, or you're in the wrong place. And like, you're welcome to be here, we're glad to have you, welcome to the club, but like, I think you might be too happy to be in this corner of the internet. I think you might be like mentally well adjusted. Not that this is a podcast for mentally unwell adjusted people, poorly adjusted people. I don't know. I don't know if you have enough internal turmoil to be here if you never had a crying sweatshirt, you know? I don't know. I don't know if I trust you. Just kidding, you're fine. As long as you're not a boy, I trust you. And I know that we're like, but the gays and the theys. I love them. I respect them. I want them to have all the rights and love and happiness in the world. I don't know if I trust them. Because at this point in my life, I don't trust anyone who's not a girl. And who's a girl's girl. Who's also struggled with mental illness. And been chronically single at one point in her life. Those are the only people I trust right now. One day I should tell the story of the narcissist I dated who made me like this. Not funny and beautiful. I was always like that. But resentful. I was delusionally pro-men for so long, and then I met this one man, and I was like, oh, you're a demon. And it opened my eyes to all the demon men of the world at the same time, at the big age of 31 years old. And boy, was it a culture shock. Boy, was it terrifying. Imagine living your whole life thinking men are like mostly decent. Like, there are shitty ones for sure, and the shitty ones are really bad. But thinking it's a small percentage, because like your dad was kind of a dick, but he always loved you very much and like did the best he could. And you had like a lot of guy friends who, like, God bless any girl who tried to date them, because they are commitment phobic and non-confrontational and a nightmare, but really good friends who took really good care of you. And all my ex-boyfriends had been like, we all had our issues, obviously, and we fought a lot, but like they quarterbacked me through a lot of mental illness. So I was like, you know, most men are fundamentally good. Imagine living your whole life like that, and then at 31 years old, you find out the reality of men and how many demons there are, and how horrific these demons are, and how pervasive they are. It was shocking. It was devastating. It was haunting. I'm still reeling from it. I only had this realization not even a year ago. And it's hard to tell what point it clicked. I would say maybe like the last 6 or 7 months, you know. I'm in a pretty fucked up place psychologically. Like, I feel like my innocence was ripped from me. Because just one day, it just is. I've never seen The Matrix, but is this like how he feels when he wakes up and he realizes he's been in a Matrix the whole time? And then sees the real world and he's like, oh, you know what this feels like? It feels like when Barbie left Barbie Land and she thought the whole world was like Barbie Land. This is what it is. It's like when Barbie left Barbie Land and she thought the whole world was like Barbie Land, and then she saw what the real world was. And then that was my relationship when I was like realizing what he was. And then after I was like, okay, he's a monster. Then I went back to Barbie Land and I was like, wait, the monsters are here too. They're everywhere. It's hopeless. And then and then the only safety was with other women who got it. That's where I'm at right now. My life's journey for the last year has been the plot of the Barbie movie. So, I'm just so fucking mad at my mom / my inability to emotionally regulate today, because I wanted to talk, because I had so many ideas. And if you guys watched the last episode, you know, I had all these ideas for the episode, and then the aliens happened, and I was like, fuck. And then, of course, with the way the world's going today, by the time I posted it, the aliens were somehow irrelevant, and now it's all about Luigi Mangione, which, okay, if you don't know the story about that, I guess we will get into it. But that was like what I really want to talk about for this episode, and then also the stuff I want to talk about from the last episode, I was going to do it now, but then I was like, well, we got to talk about Luigi and Monopoly and the Monopoly money and the Pennsylvania Railroad, which, again, if you're not on TikTok, I sound insane, but I will catch you up. Maybe that's a segment of this podcast. Like, let me catch you up on this week's TikTok for the ones who are employed and don't have all the time in the world to spend on TikTok like I do. It's my safe place. If they get rid of it, I will pull a Luigi Mangione on everyone. On everyone. On everyone. Because if I said a particular person, then it would become a threat and I would go to prison. Probably. I don't really know how that works. I was a lawyer, but the government doesn't follow the law. They just do whatever they want. So if somebody else got Luigi Mangione, which I should explain what that is, and I will do that in just one moment. But if somebody else got Luigi Mangione, they'd find a way to pin it on me. Okay, so Luigi Mangione, not even a real word at this point. Sounds like a pasta. I know. But if you haven't heard, if you live under a literal rock, made of 10 feet of stone, like whatever the rock was that they put Jesus in that tomb with. I will tell you what's going on. So, United Healthcare, big, super corrupt health insurance company, has the highest profits of any health insurance conglomerate in the country, like in the billions and billions of dollars. Can't remember the exact number. We're just going to call it 6 billion or 24 billion. Hard to say which one. They're both numbers so big I can't comprehend. Anyway, so their CEO, Brian Thompson, is known for massively increasing the company's profit margins by massively increasing. He got murdered. Okay, I know this is boring. It gets better. He got murdered. Okay, he got straight up murked. Okay, I'm just laying the groundwork, but he got murked. It's a good story. We'll get to it. Okay, now I'm going to lay down some background. But basically, Luigi murdered a guy, and it's a great story, and I'm going to tell you everything right now. It's very elaborate. It feels like last week we were on UAP TikTok. This week we're on Gotham City TikTok. Okay. So, CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson, is known for increasing United Healthcare's profits by like billions and billions of dollars by increasing the amount of denied claims by like a gazillion. So, he's indirectly responsible for the death of like tens of thousands of people. Very dramatic. So, he got straight up murdered in cold blood in the middle of broad daylight in New York City last week. He was heading into a shareholders meeting, and as he was like reaching for the door, a guy in a Tommy Hilfiger jacket. Oh my God, this story is so good. I'm so excited to get into this. This is giving me life. I'm so glad I sat down to record this podcast. I feel so much better already. Okay, because I have so much to talk about. Okay, I'm so excited. Okay. I'm so excited. Okay. Yes. Okay. Cool. Yes. This is why we do the thing. This right here, this magical moment I'm feeling right now inside. This is why we do the things and create the things. Feels so good. Okay. So, Brian Thompson heading into this building in New York City. There is this guy in a Tommy Hilfiger jacket. We will come back to that. And a guy in a Tommy Hilfiger jacket with a mask on and a gun with a silencer on it shoots him dead. Okay, he fires 3 bullets very intentionally. I think he kills him with the second one, but fires the third one to like make a point. And on the bullets, carved into them says, deny, defend, depose, or something like that, which is like basically United Healthcare's strategy to deny people's health insurance claims. Okay, so this is like fucking performance art, very poetic. And then the guy calmly as fuck walks away and completely gets away. The police have no leads on him for like 5 or 6 days. Put a pin in that. We'll get back into it. Fun fact. He's also super hot. Gonna put a pin in that, and we're gonna come back to that again. So Brian Thompson gets shot. He's laying there in a pool of his own blood, surrounded by these very poetic bullet casings. And then the shareholders show up for their meeting, and they step over his dead body. They don't give a fuck. Like, you know, every time you're trying to quit a job and you're like, but what's gonna happen to like my coworkers? Or like, I don't want to like let people down. And people are like, hey, they literally don't care if you live or die. They're going to replace you the second you leave. You literally mean nothing to that company. If you ever didn't believe that, this is proof. This guy was freshly murdered. And they were like, sorry, gotta go to a meeting. Gotta go to a shareholders meeting to figure out how big our dividends are going to be this quarter. Crazy. Okay, so like the NYPD, who's historically lazy as fuck, have so many unsolved murders, and they typically rely on tips from the community to solve anything. And usually they don't even try. But obviously a billionaire died, so they had to pretend to care, because those are the people who pay them all their bribes. Very important to the NYPD. So the NYPD starts putting out APBs for tips. God, what direction do I even go with the story? There's so many different bullet points. It's so elaborate, guys. Like, this could be a 6-part episode just to cover Luigi. So the NYPD immediately gets to work, which they don't do much work. They're tracing back CCTV cameras, trying to figure out who the fuck this guy is. And all they have is they link it back to like one like screenshot image of like this guy at a hostel with his mask pulled down to like flirt with the girl. And he's so hot, dude. Holy shit. Like, look up Luigi Mangio. Look up United Healthcare killer hostel photo. Holy shit, this guy is the stuff of dreams. Like, literally, if you read Court of Thorns and Roses, this is what I imagine like a young Bryson to look like. Like, so hot. Stupidly hot. Like Tumblr hot. Okay? So But now I've built it up. I'm so sorry. Now I built it up and you're going to go look at him and it's not going to be what you thought. And you're like, that's not rice sand. Because we all have different imaginations. I'm so sorry. I just built that up for you. And now you're going to look at him and he's not going to be that hot. I'm so sorry. I just ruined that for you. Okay, I'm so sorry. I take that back. Okay, so between the fact that he killed the CEO of a very corrupt health insurance company, had this poetic ass moment with what was carved into the bullets, and he's hot, America is on his team. It has united the left and the right. Like, people are turning on Ben Shapiro for talking shit because everyone's like, fuck health insurance companies. Also, we love hot boys. If there's anything I've learned in the last year, it's that there's nothing in this world America loves more than revenge, murder, and hot guys, especially if the murder is hot, okay? We love it. And immediately, the whole country is so on the murderer's team. It's crazy. People are calling him the insurance adjuster, like, which I think is such a badass name. And everyone is on his side. Everyone is, like, doing everything they can to save him. Like, people were flooding the NYPD tip line with fake tips, saying that, like, the last time they saw him was in the North Pole, which is, like, the funniest gag ever. So, like, this guy gets away, walks away calmly. The whole nation is on his side. The government is up in arms about our reaction to this. And they're like, wait, someone murdered a rich guy? Why are people mad about this? And it's fucking crazy. So then fucking 3 days later, they find a backpack that this guy left in Central Park. And it's full of, drumroll please, Monopoly money. The performance art continues. Then, several days later, this guy is found in a McDonald's, which is known for the Monopoly game, in this random-ass bumfuck town in Pennsylvania, which is the home of the Pennsylvania Railroad. So clearly he has some sort of funny story planned. He also posts a YouTube video that says, like, more information's to come, and he has a second video scheduled to come out at 6:45 p.m. Eastern on Monday the 9th. And then YouTube, like the bitch that it is, bans his account, so we never get to see the follow-up video. It's bonkers. And so now we're never gonna know what this says. And, like, people are convinced that either this guy really wanted to get caught for these performance art-y reasons, which I'm on that team, because this was, like, so elaborate that for 5 days the NYPD had absolutely no information on this guy, couldn't get fuck all, and then all of a sudden just found him in this bumfuck ass town in Pennsylvania, and in his backpack he had like $10,000, like $8,000 in US, $2,000 in foreign currency. And he had a 3D printed pistol, which makes no fucking sense. A 3D printed silencer, which also makes no fucking sense. I didn't know that was a thing you could make out of 3D printed plastic. And he had a bunch of, like, hollow point bullets on him. And then apparently a handwritten manifesto, which seems incredibly convenient. And then if you read the NYPD manifesto, it clearly looks like the cops fucking wrote it. Because what is the NYPD so famous for? Planting fake evidence. Okay. So he's being, and he had, like, a bunch of fake IDs on him, etc., etc. So either they planted all this fake evidence on this Luigi kid and were like, sorry kid, you kind of look like him, we're going to pin this whole thing on you, or this kid obviously really wanted to get caught and it's part of some larger plan. And in the YouTube video before it was taken down, it said more info coming soon. And then it for like a split second said December 11th. Today's December 10th. So I will come back and record possibly a second part to this video with whatever update happens on December 11th. But yeah. So in summation, I don't know if I told that story well because I'm not mentally okay right now. But in summation, Luigi's really hot. The story is very elaborate and very funny. And the U.S. government keeps being like, we don't celebrate killers in this country. Like, in America, we don't kill people in cold blood. And, like, the governor who said that, somebody on TikTok cut to a video of him signing a fucking bomb. And we're like, really? 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 In a country that most of our politicians are funded by the NRA or Israel, we don't support violence in this country? That's super weird. I was pretty sure that every time elementary schools got shot up, you guys refused to implement any gun control. So it's very weird that all of this violence that you've normalized in the United States and desensitized all of us to is now being carried out against rich people. And you're like, wait, what? Wait, what? Oh my God. And Elon Musk posted the most insane tweet I've ever read in my life, to the point where when I was reading it to a friend, I was like, oh, now that I read this back, this is probably fake. No, it was real. No, it was real. It said, oh my God, I actually have to pull up. I'm gonna go into my messages with Amanda, and we just send each other content all day, every day, so this could take a while to find. Oh my God, as I'm talking about all this, so much has happened. I completely forgot that a video came out of Nick Fuentes' ass getting eaten by a guy called Destiny. Dude, what a crazy week this has been. There was a sex tape leaked of this guy called Destiny, who everyone's pretty sure the other guy in the video whose ass he was eating was Nick Fuentes, the guy who said, "Your body, my choice." And then Nick Fuentes got arrested for battery for that lady that he pepper sprayed in the face and pushed to the ground and smashed her phone. Dude, like, the news moves so fast. It's crazy. Like, sometimes when I record this podcast, I'm like, everything I'm talking about by the time I post it is, like, already out of date. It's already out of date. Fuck, I didn't send this to Amanda. So it's somewhere in my photos. Oh, I'm never going to find that. Also, the iPhone update, that happened, and I haven't even had time to rant and rave about that. Like, who can find anything on this fucking thing? That was really dangerous, just me showing this. Could have been nudes. JK, I haven't dated in so long. That's so unlikely. Okay. Screenshots. Where you at, bitch? 2,800. Oh, that's, I don't know if you can see. So that's Luigi. Isn't he so cute? But also people are like, is that the same guy even? We don't know. Also, he was wearing a Tommy Hilfiger jacket apparently, and Macy's, like the fucking savages that they apparently are, put that jacket on sale with the promo code FRIENDS. Hilarious. God, I love the internet. Never take it away from me. Okay. Where's this fucking Elon Musk? Oh my God, I had boy drama I was going to update you guys on, but now that feels pretty dumb. Okay, so the Elon Musk. I went on a date with a boy like an idiot. Like an idiot. Like I told you guys not to do, I did it. Immediately was reminded why we don't do that. We'll talk about that at some point. Because, wow, boys are stupid. Just the way how when you're not fucked up all the time, you can just so quickly see through all their bullshit. And you're like, oh, wow, that's horrible. I'm glad I'm awake for this. I just saved myself 6 months of misery. Like back when I was like drinking and smoking weed, I would have just been like, oh my God, but he's cute. He doesn't mean to say all these horrible things. He's just dumb. And now I'm like, oh, you're a manipulative piece of shit. Oh, I'm going to get out of this now rather than falling in love with you and wasting 6 to 9 months of my life. Okay, cool. Sobriety is pretty cool, guys. Stops you from making a lot of dumbass decisions. Okay, so Elon Musk. This was the most unhinged thing I ever read. This was Elon Musk's reaction to the United Healthcare CEO getting shot and everyone being super fucking stoked about it. Get ready, it's a wild ride. He's so mentally ill and so fucking out of touch with reality. I can't even believe it. I literally read this and I thought it was satire. I thought somebody else just did a really good impression of Elon Musk. And I thought the funniest part was that it was so believable. It's real. Which I don't even know what planet I'm living on if this is a fucking real ass tweet. Okay. Elon Musk. It has been brought to my attention that some Americans are actually cheering for the gunman who killed United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, and that they're saying this is a warning to all CEOs. What these people fail to understand is that without CEOs, the world would not be able to function. And as CEOs, we are responsible for the delicate balance of generating profit. This part's fucking crazy. First part's unhinged. Second part, absolutely fucking insane. Okay. What the... oh, God. Okay. What these people fail to understand is that without CEOs, the world would not be able to function. And as CEOs, we are responsible for the delicate balancing act of generating profits for shareholders while also ensuring that shareholders are able to maintain their own personal wealth even in spite of the typical corporate laziness and the greed of middle management and their staff. America will be destitute without us. Hashtag Doge, which is a joke that people aren't talking about enough that I'm still furious about. Are you out of your fucking mind, Elon? Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you out of your actual fucking mind, you Looney Tune? The delicate balancing act of generating profits for shareholders while also ensuring that they're able to maintain their own personal wealth. What? America will be destitute without us? Bitch, we're destitute because of you. We're destitute because of you, because of your fucking monopolies that put small companies out of business so none of us can work for ourselves. Because when we do, you buy out our companies and then turn them to shit and make them garbage for everyone or absorb them into your conglomerates or buy them just to put them out of business. And it's like we're all just left to toil for the corporate machine. Like, literally, have you heard about the gigantic wealth disparity in this country? Are you fucking kidding me? No, the real fear is that once we realize we don't need fucking CEOs anymore, you're fucked. Because without capital, aka labor, aka us, you're gonna be homeless, you stupid bitch. Fuck you. That's the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life. The world would not be able to function without CEOs. First of all, I'm pretty sure it has for like a lot of human history. Second of all, I'm pretty sure it would work a lot fucking better without you guys. Like, I don't know, Elon, I'm pretty sure the world was turning just fine before you invented PayPal. I'm just gonna take a stab in the dark. I'm pretty sure you've been sued for labor code violations like a million times, as well as harassment, constructive termination, hostile work environment. I'm pretty sure you're pretty fucking terrible. And the world would do really well without you. I'm really so sure that it would. This is the craziest. And what is the balancing act? Okay, sorry, I'm almost done. But what is this balancing act? The balancing act of, on one hand, generating profits for shareholders, okay? While on the other hand, ensuring that shareholders are able to maintain their own personal wealth. That's the same thing. You don't have to balance that. I mean, I guess he's saying he's balancing it against typical corporate laziness, which is probably just burnout or apathy due to prolonged corporate abuse, workplace abuse, the greed of middle management. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Elon. How much are you worth? How much are you worth? How much has your wealth skyrocketed since you basically bought a position in Trump's administration? Middle management greed? You mean people sending their kids to college that want to be able to pay for it and put food on the table? Middle management? Those are the greedy ones? And their staff? You mean your employees who are making minimum wage and who you give them just enough hours that you can get all of the work out of them without just enough hours that they don't qualify for health insurance coverage? Those greedy people? The people living below the poverty line so you can make billions of dollars so you can continue to trick younger women into breeding with you and having your children so then you can proceed to abuse them for years? Those greedy people? Are you so fucking for real? Are you so fucking for real? I'm so fucking glad Brian Thompson got shot, and I hope that people see how much we fucking love Luigi. And there are copycat killers everywhere. I don't mean that, the government. The government, if you're listening, this is satire, okay? These are obviously jokes. I'm not instigating violence on anyone's part. This is a podcast for girls. We know that if we shot anyone, we'd actually go to jail for it, even if they started it, okay? This is not a podcast for white men, who we all know are the only ones who would be bold enough to do something like that because they probably wouldn't go to jail. And America does not love female killers the way they love hot white male killers. It's just the truth. So we wouldn't do it. So government, if you're listening, I am not saying that someone should be a copycat killer and shoot Elon Musk in a similar way with maybe some funny tweets written on the bullet casings. I am not saying that. I would never say that. That would be an insane thing to say because we all know girls are too dumb to shoot guns and only girls listen to this podcast. Like, I'm not even talking to anybody. We're all just dumb girls and we don't know how to do anything, so it's fine. Just let Luigi out of jail. He's too hot to rot in prison. And he's smart and he's creative. He knows how to plan. Do you know how rare it is to find a handsome white boy who's a good planner and follows through on his plans and commits to them? And has like a modicum of creativity and follow through? And you're going to put that man in jail? Arrest my ex-boyfriend. He's worse. And he's stupid. And he's getting kind of ugly. Isn't that fun when a boy gets really ugly after he dates you? Like, all my boyfriends get way hotter when they're with me and then way ugly after we break up. And I'm like, that feels like karma. Anyways, I love you all. Maybe I'll be back, maybe I won't, but I have to go to my yoga class because I need to do something today. I might just sit on the floor in child's pose the whole time. But at least we can say we tried. At least we can let our inner child know that she's safe and mama still shows up to her commitments even when she feels like shit. Because if you didn't know, when you make commitments to yourself, often you feel like you can bail on them because you're not letting anyone down. But the reason you feel like shit when you don't hold commitments to, when you don't follow through on commitments to yourself is because it makes your inner child feel like a little kid whose mom didn't pick her up from school that day because she forgot. So that's why you should always honor, that's the word I was looking for. When you don't honor commitments to yourself, it makes your inner child feel like a little kid whose mom forgot to pick her up from school. So make sure you honor your commitments to yourself, even when you feel like shit. Just show up because I am living proof that Even if this isn't the best podcast episode ever of all time, I feel a lot better that I've done it, and I'm really proud of myself. And I'm going to go to my yoga class, and it might be shit, but at least I did it, and I'm honoring my commitments, and that makes me feel good, and it makes my inner child feel safe. And she really needs that after today, because boy, has it been a doozy. Okay, I love you so much. I'm going to go sit in child's pose for an hour, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great week. Bye.